Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Premier League Game Week 14 review. I'm going to be talking about all the games that happened this week in the Premier League. I didn't actually get to watch all these games, but I have sort of seen, highlights of all of them, and I'll be able to just talk about what this all means. Starting off with Ipswich 0, Palace 1. I believe that is Palace's first away win of the season, which is pretty big. They're obviously in a relegation scrap right now. I'll show the table at the end of the video. But let's talk about this game. So as you can see, we've got the lineups here. Dean Henderson was given the highest rating. He won Man of the Match. Had made 2 saves. Don't know why he had such a high rating. I didn't really see much of the game, so if anyone that did watch this game can tell me, that would be appreciated. Mateta scoring the winning goal, assisted by Every Eze. And I think Palace fans are going to be very happy that they've finally gotten a win away from home. This season has been really disappointing for them, but that 59th minute goal from Mateta, it was a great finish, by the way. I mean, the way someone of his size can cut through a defense like that, make that kind of finish, it was just such a good use of his body. If we take a look at the stats here, Palace were definitely the better side. They did deserve to win this game. They had only 46% of the ball, which is interesting, but the XG is a lot higher, over a goal higher. They only had 4 more shots, only 1 more shot on target, but they were just, as you can see with the big chances, they were producing higher quality opportunities, scoring one of those 3 big chances. All the stats are in Palace's favour. They really did deserve to win this game. Here we have the shot map from the team. That was Mateta's goal. Very good goal from him, as I just said. I didn't really watch this game. Don't know any other standouts. From an Ipswich point of view, they're going to be a little bit disappointed to lose this game. I believe they're still in the relegation zone with that loss. And Palace are going to be very happy to get this victory. Now, taking a look at the other game that was on at the same time, we have Leicester versus West Ham. Leicester City 3, West Ham United 1. Big win for Leicester. I think that's their 3rd or 4th win of the season? Probably got less. Yeah, their 3rd win of the season. And arguably their best performance so far. And look, as you can see from these stats, West Ham are going to be absolutely gutted that they didn't get this win. Look at that. 3 expected goals, 31 shots, 10 on target. Hermansen was moving on another level. I didn't get to see a whole lot of this game. He was given the highest rating. He made 7 saves, only conceded the 1 goal, but it was right at the end of the game. Yeah, just absolutely insane performance. I don't know if you guys remember that game against Arsenal. He was moving just at another level. Going back to that shot map, this is just unbelievable. How they were missing some of these chances, I do not know. I mean, to have that many shots and not score until the 93rd minute, it's a bit concerning. If we look at each half, it was the same. First half, West Ham would have felt really disappointed to be 1-0 down. They really should have been 1 or 2-0 up. And then the second half, it was the same. It really was. So, and that's how West Ham get most of their big wins. By playing similarly, by sitting off the ball, hitting teams on the counter. I remember when they came to the Emirates, they did the same thing. We had so many shots, just could not put the ball in the back of the net. So, and then from a Leicester point of view, I mean, they took their chances well. 1 expected goal, 3 goals, much less of the ball, Just, yeah, a really good performance from Leicester, a win that they're going to be very happy with. That puts them out of the relegation zone. Goals from Vardy. That Vardy is just, I mean, he's 37 years old and he's still like a Premier League quality striker. Great to have him in the side. Not really sure who else was like a standout performer. I know Hermanson and Vardy did very well, but I'm assuming that players like Kudus, Bowen, Ings, I'm guessing that they missed a fair few chances. If we take a look at Danny Ings, yeah, he had 2 shots. He had this right foot shank back Kudus. He had a few shots, but he was just taking them from sort of the edge of the box. Jared Bowen, yeah, he had 3 shots on target, but couldn't find the back of the net. They didn't end up scoring until Fulkrug came on and got them a goal right at the end of the game with a Somerville assist. He's been a very good signing for them. So those were the games that were on Wednesday, I believe. And now we'll move to yesterday's games, starting with a very unexpected result. I honestly thought this was maybe going to be a draw, or either team could nick it in a very scrappy fashion. But Everton absolutely smoked Wolves. Wolves are 19th in the league, I think, 18th or 19th. And this was by far their worst display. I mean, look, they had more of the ball, did nothing with it, but to concede those 4 goals against an Everton team that's been really struggling for goals this season. Look, if we take a look at Everton's form, I mean, look, they cannot score goals. 0 goals against Man United, 0 goals against Brentford, 0 goals against West Ham, 0 goals against Southampton, 1 goal against Fulham. So ever since their 2-0 win away at Ipswich, they've scored 1 goal in 5 games. So to do this against, let's be real, a very poor Wolves side, but just scoring 4 goals is exceptional. Ashley Young was given man of the match for his beautiful free kick that he scored. That was their first goal of the game. I didn't really watch this because the Arsenal game was on. But yeah, just an incredible performance from Everton. Could Gary O'Neill potentially get sacked? I forgot to talk about it in the West Ham game, but there's a lot of pressure now on Julian Lopetegui. He could be losing his job. And I think the same thing could be happening with Gary O'Neill, because last year they were a mid-table club. They didn't have to worry about relegation, and if they go down, then it's really not looking good. But this guy, this is who? Craig Dawson. People have been talking about Craig Dawson because he managed to score 2 own goals. The first one, is this the first one or the second one? Anyway, the first one wasn't that bad. He was really unfortunate to concede. But the second one, he probably should have done better. I'm assuming that Jose Sarr had a pretty poor performance here. Only made 2 saves. And Everton, it's similar to the Leicester game. It was just them taking their chances. Whilst they did actually have more XG, more shots, scoring 4 goals with 4 shots on target, it's pretty incredible. So yeah, Everton, that's going to be by far their best result of this season. They've got a big Merseyside derby coming up against Liverpool, the final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. So they are obviously going to be hoping to get some sort of result in that game and continue and sort of start a good run of form, because even though Everton have been looking shocking as of late, I still have no fear that they're going to stay up, because Everton, they do this every season. They con you into thinking they're going to go down, and then they just come up with some sort of run of form and stay up. They've got a tough run of games, though. If you take a look at their run of games, they've got like Liverpool next, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Villa, Bournemouth away, which is clearly a very tough place to go. So yeah, they've got some pretty tough games coming up, so it's very good to get this kind of home win against a side that you'd be expecting to beat at home. Alright, now let's talk about Man City's bounce back performance. Finally, they get a win after 8 games. This was their 8th. This could have been their 8th game without a victory, and they finally get it against Nottingham Forest. A comfortable 3-0 win, as you can check by the stats. we got the stats here. I mean, it was City dominance. Forest, they did have a few shots, a couple of chances. I saw this. No, which one was it? There was one chance that I did see from Chris Wood that he probably should have done a bit better. Probably should have put that away. Forest did have a couple of opportunities to score, but look at these stats from City: 4 big chances, 2.5 expected goals, 2/3 of the ball. Their best performance over the past month or so. They're going to be very happy to finally get back into winning ways. Can they actually start some sort of run of form? It looks like they're down and out in the title race. That's what it was looking like. They're 9 points behind Liverpool in first. We've seen City overturn gaps similar to this before, and they've got time. They've still got 24 games. So they do definitely have some time. Taking a look at the lineup, Kevin De Bruyne was given the best player, scoring this decent goal, having a couple of other shots as well. Got the assist for, I believe, Doku's goal, if I'm not mistaken. It was very interesting seeing Pep go with this sort of lineup. People were very critical of the lineup he went with against Liverpool. He changed it up a bit, put Jack Grealish centrally. From the sounds of things, he played pretty well. I think Jack Grealish is better centrally. Good game from Doku. He's been having a better season he's been better this season than last season, I would say. Bernardo Silva, people were calling him washed, but he got his little tap in at the near post, which was good. Don't think there was any, from the sounds of things, don't think there was many standout performers from Forest. I mean, they lost 3-0, and from a Forest point of view, they're going to be a bit disappointed because their run of form has not been great. If you take a look at Forest run of games, really since that international break, they lost away at Newcastle, or at home to Newcastle, at home, just before the international break, which kind of ruined their momentum, and then a 3-0 loss to City and Arsenal away from home, a 1-0 win against Ipswich. Look, they're still 7th. I'll talk about the table at the end of the video, but they're just, you'd think Forest would be disappointed with their run of form considering how well they started the season. They're going to hope to bounce back in their next game. I'm not sure who they play next, but they are going to want bounce back. Now, this is probably the biggest result of the week. Newcastle 3, Liverpool 3. Liverpool dropped points for the first time in God knows how long. Only their third time dropping points in any competition this season. Let's talk about this game. I watched the first half in its entirety because it was before the Arsenal game. And then the second half, I sort of had it on in the background while we were playing. So I did get to see all the goals. I also went back and watched the extended highlights. Isak with a great finish to put them up 1-0. Outside the box, placed it in that top corner from a counter-attack. But man of the match, Salah, he got the equalising assist to Curtis Jones, ended up scoring 2 more goals in the game. Anthony Gordon with a nice finish to put them up 2-1. Mo Salah not only equalises, but then takes the lead. Both assists from Trent off the bench. He had probably his best game of the season coming off the bench. I have no doubt that he will start Liverpool's next game against Everton. But then drama at the end where Fabian Schär scores. Was it a free kick? I really don't think it was, personally. However, the decisions in this game were absolutely just awful. The referee was terrible. He made bad decisions going both ways. It was just a really poor performance from the referee. So, I feel like both teams will kind of be a little bit disappointed. Newcastle were leading twice in that game. So, having 2 separate leads at home and not picking up all 3 points is going to be disappointing. However, it is against the best team in the world at the moment. So they'll take a draw, especially since the last couple of minutes it looked like they were going to lose. But then Liverpool, it's sort of the same thing in reverse. Even though they're away from home, it's a fixture that you'd think they would win against a Newcastle team that, whilst they have gotten some big results this season, overall they've been quite poor in certain games. Considering that they were down twice throughout this game, they'll take it. But also, that mistake from Kelleher at the end, what was he doing? He had a very poor game. Made the 3 saves, conceded the 3 goals. One of them was completely his fault. That Fabian Schär goal, I don't know what Kelleher was doing. He comes out for the cross, but then just leaves it. He doesn't even attempt to grab the cross. I do not know what he was doing. But yeah, in terms of certain performances, I thought Gravenberch was quite poor. That was probably his worst game of the season. Bruno G was excellent, got his 2 assists. Isak was probably Newcastle's best player, but Mo Salah was man of the match. I saw a stat. He's got 21 goal contributions, which is already insane, but he's been involved in 75% of Liverpool's goals. They've scored 28 goals, and he has 21 goal contributions. If we see a Salah, form dip, Liverpool could be fucked. They could be screwed. So yeah, both teams are probably going to be a little bit disappointed that they didn't grab all 3 points, but they will they'll take it. They'll take it. Moving on to Southampton 1, Chelsea 5. Southampton, oh my god, they are just shocking. If you haven't seen the second goal, I believe it was the Nkunku goal, go back and find it, because they were just abysmal. To concede from a corner early, Chelsea are not a very good set team scoring from set pieces. That was their first goal from a corner all season. So Southampton can say that they conceded the first one there. Yeah, Chelsea just absolutely dominated them. 5 expected goals. What the fuck is that? 26 shots to 6. Yeah, Southampton are just absolutely dreadful. They are by far the worst team in the league. They will be relegated by March. It will be very similar to their last season in the Prem. But look at that. Those stats are horrifying. You do not want to see this. This could be Russell Martin's job. It really could. To concede 5 at home isn't great. They were a man down for the last 2 goals, but going 3-1 down in the first half. And look, props to them for scoring the equaliser, because per first 10 minutes, Sassy scores. I think Southampton are going to get done here. Then they equalise, and I'm like, alright, I really didn't expect to see a response that quickly as well. But then after that, just absolutely cooked. Stevens with the straight red card. I didn't see what the red card was for. I only got a chance to actually see the goals. But odds are it was probably a disgusting challenge, let's be real. So yeah, Southampton, they're going down. And Chelsea leapfrog Arsenal, go up to second. Could they win the league? I don't know. Chelsea are a team that I wrote off at the start of the season. I thought that they made a terrible decision bringing in Enzo Maresca, but he has done a phenomenal job with this team. So yeah, props to Chelsea. They used a very rotated squad as well. This is usually a lot of these players usually play Conference League, like Disasi, Adarabioyo, Felix, Madueke, and Nkunku. They're all usually Conference League players. Jorgensen as well. Usually they've got Robert Sanchez in goal. They've got like Sancho or Neto on the wings. They've got Jackson up front. So the fact that Chelsea are in this situation where they've basically got 2 different squads, and let's be real, this was basically a Conference League game because Southampton are absolutely shite. Take a look at the bench. Jadon Sancho scored his first goal for Chelsea off the bench, and from the looks of things, none of the Southampton players made any impact whatsoever. Don't know why it took them that long to make a sub. But yeah. So moving on, we have our big win over Manchester United. I'm more going to talk about this game from a Manchester United standpoint because I already covered it talking about Arsenal, but United, they created nothing. They created absolutely nothing. There have been so many United fans crying about, Arsenal only score from set pieces. That's the only way they could get their opportunities. If we just look at open play stats, look, 0.5 goals, expected goals from open play, isn't great. I wish I could just look at the shots. But look at United. They had one open play shot. I'm pretty sure it was this one. This miss from Dallo. That was their only shot from open play, and they're going to talk about relying on set pieces. First half, I thought they looked better. They sort of controlled the game from a defensive standpoint. Couldn't create anything, but defensively they looked very solid. The second half, they got absolutely killed from corners. Arsenal did actually create some decent open play chances. But yeah, United, they got cooked. As much as you can talk about the corners and, Arsenal or Stoke City, whatever you want to say, the reality is United did not come to win this game. They did okay limiting Arsenal's chance creation in the first half, but it didn't go on for very long. Now, let's talk about Aston Villa versus Brentford. I didn't really see any of this game. Villa finally win. They were 8 games without a win. They finally get another victory. And this is a much needed one. Brentford are the funniest team. At home, they are prime Real Madrid. The G-Tech Community Stadium is the hardest away game of the season. I don't know why. It's not like they have a crazy atmosphere or insane fans, because they don't. But then away from home, they're shit. They're one of the worst teams in the league away from home. And it was put on display against Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins is listed as the man of the match. He scored a penalty, set up a goal. That was good on him. Nothing really unexpected about the lineups. I honestly thought Brentford were going to win this, to be honest. The way Villa's form had gone, plus Brentford were just due an away win. But fair play to Aston Villa, they're better than I thought. I've been pretty critical of them this season. They've been quite poor at times. But they are going to take this win because, to go up 3-0 in the first half and then see the game out is very good. Maybe some Brentford fans could have thought that a comeback was on in the second half, but if you look at the stats, even in that second half, Villa had control of the game. First half, it was actually tighter in terms of style. Not really. Look at the 2 shots. Brentford didn't really offer anything. Villa were by far the better side. They fully deserve this win. That's one of their best games of the season. Not really much else to say about this game specifically. From the looks of things, Flecken had a good game. 7 saves. So yeah, fair play to Aston Villa for their win. Now we get to today's games. Fulham beat Brighton. Fulham are going so under the radar. I had them, I think, 10th or 11th or something. But I was hearing from people that Fulham were going to be in a relegation battle. They have been incredible this season. They're 6th in the table. I think that puts them just below Brighton, and it's a big home win. They play Arsenal at home next, but they're going to be very happy to win this game. Because Brighton, they've been a great team this season. They were in the top 4 going into this game, Rick. I think they dropped out now for City. They're going to be disappointed with this performance. It looks like Verbruggen made some sort of mistake. This game was today, so I haven't really gotten a chance to see the highlights or anything. Just sort of going to talk about the result. Iwobi's given the man of the match award. He's been looking good this season. He's already scored more goals than he did last season. Smith Rowe looks like he put in a good performance. Nelson's come off with an injury. Balaba scored a screamer. This was a very good finish from Balaba. There was that own goal from O'Reilly. Haven't seen the own goal. Hopefully for him it wasn't catastrophic. Few own goals this week. So yeah, Fulham, they're going to be absolutely pleased with this win. If we look at stats, I mean, Brighton were very unlucky. It's very similar to the West Ham Leicester game, where Brighton had more opportunities, they had better shots. It's just that Fulham took their chances when they came. And yeah, fair play to Fulham. Marco Silva's doing a very good job. It's just similar to their first season in the Prem. Last season they weren't terrible, but they weren't as good as that first year. But now it looks like they're back to it. Smith Rowe, Nelson have both been very good signings. Anderson as well. Did he play? I'm pretty sure he did. Oh no, he didn't. Bassi and Diop both playing. Is Anderson injured? Yeah, Anderson's injured with a calf injury. And finally, ending it on Bournemouth 1, Tottenham 0. This was the game that I was watching this morning. Just Tottenham are shit. They look absolutely shit at the moment. I mean, if you take a look at these stats, I mean, they had 2/3 of the ball, 12 shots, only 4 on target, and not a single big chance. They conceded 5 big chances to this Bournemouth team. And if Bournemouth could finish, they could have battered Tottenham. They really could have. They absolutely played them off the park. Tottenham really struggled to create anything. Very similar to their performance against Fulham on the weekend. You know, they had more of the ball, I think, but they couldn't create shit. And look, Bournemouth have been a very good team at home. They've beaten Arsenal, City, now Spurs. But that is unforgivable for Tottenham. I mean, look at this. They got cooked. They got absolutely cooked. If it wasn't for Fraser Forster looking like prime Neuer, they could have gotten shit on. None of their attack is really offered anything to the game. None of the substitutes made any impact. And yeah, Bournemouth just, if it wasn't for their finishing, they could have beaten them. Big shout out to this kid, Dean Hodgson, I think it is. Don't know how to pronounce his name. But he gets his first Premier League goal. The 19-year-old centre-back. From what I've heard from people, he looks incredible. He's going to be a top defender. He's a threat from set pieces. He came from Roma. He played for Juventus as well. So he went to Juventus. He went to Roma on loan from Juve and then got sold to Bournemouth, where he's made 9 appearances and he finally scored his first goal. He was rated the best player on the pitch as well. Fair play to Bournemouth. They got a big home win, another home win. And yeah, I think Tottenham dropped down to like 10th. They are clinging on for dear life. Bournemouth leapfrogged them in the table. They're still in the hunt for European football. I mean, they've lost one of their best players to Tottenham, their top striker, their 19-goal striker, and they've looked excellent. They really have. Evan Nilsson has been good. I think he's won like 5 penalties this season. Kluivert's been scoring them. Tavernier and Semenyo have been such a threat. Their defense has been rock solid, and it's been deep, and it's deep as well. They've got several good defenders. And yeah, Tottenham, look, injuries are a problem for them, but you can't use your 2 centre-backs and goalkeeper being out as justification for not creating anything. It's like they don't really have many top attacking players out with injuries. It's more just their defense, and their defense was half decent today. It wasn't the defense that was the main problem for them. So we're about to hit the half an hour mark. And because of that, let's take a look at the table. So Liverpool obviously still sitting in first. The gap has decreased with their draw as title rivals Chelsea, Arsenal and City all picked up wins, all cut the gap. They're now 7 points clear of Chelsea and Arsenal and 9 clear of City, which is by no means a small gap. But if they keep dropping more points and these other teams keep winning, then that gap can get smaller and smaller until it's gone before you even know it. Brighton in 5th. They did drop down after their loss, but not significantly. Fulham, Forest, and Villa, 6th, 7th, and 8th, all level on points. It is so tight amongst the top of the table. I mean, Chelsea and Arsenal are 7 points off Liverpool, and then 9th place Bournemouth is 7 points off them. That Bournemouth are just as close to Chelsea as Chelsea are to Liverpool, which is just crazy. It was even worse last week. But you got little old Tottenham all the way down there in 10th. And this is what's intriguing. Because Manchester United, on 19 points, are 1 point behind 10th place Tottenham. This sort of, from 6th down to 13th, could be completely flipped on its head next week. This sort of mid-table area is so tight. The battle for Europe is going to be insane this season. And then you've got a 4-point gap behind United. The bottom 7 are quite a drop down from the rest of these teams. You got, West Ham, they've got 1 win in 5. Everton 1 win in 5. Yeah, it's just the table's sort of starting to form. It's this point in the season when you've played, 10 to 14 games, when you really sort of start to see the table stay similar or at least split into tiers. Like, you've got that top 4 tier, even though Brighton are only 3 points behind City. I think that this top 4 is going to finish the way it is. I don't know if the order is going to be the same. I just realized my face cam is covering the team's logo. I'm sorry for that. Let me just grab my face cam and move it over here. So yeah, it's really starting to split into tiers. Like that top 4, as I said, I think it's going to stay the same for most of the season, probably end up the same. And then 5th all the way down to 13th, that sort of area. There's only 4 points separating these teams. This could look completely different next week depending on how the results go. And then the bottom 7, I wouldn't say they're all in a relegation battle. I wouldn't say that West Ham are in a relegation battle, but they're only 1 point behind Everton, and most people consider Everton a relegation battle. So I think it is a possibility that all of these teams go down. That any of these teams go down. Obviously not all of them. Palace and Leicester both jump out of the relegation zone and knock Wolves and Ipswich down into it. The relegation battle is going to be quite entertaining. And obviously Southampton aren't in a relegation battle. Oh my god, you can't even see them either. I am absolutely losing it. There we go. So Southampton are in a relegation battle. They're just going to get relegated. Now that I've sort of had a look at the table, you've been able to admire it. Let's look at this weekend's games. I'm not going to go through predictions now. I'm just sort of going to let you have a look at them. I'm going to try and watch as many of these games as I possibly can. Let's just put that there. You've got Everton, Liverpool, last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. You got Aston Villa versus Southampton, Brentford versus Newcastle, Palace versus City, United versus Forest, and then Fulham versus Arsenal, Ipswich versus Bournemouth, Leicester versus Brighton, Tottenham versus Chelsea, and at the bottom there you have West Ham versus Wolves. Thank you guys for watching my review for Premier League Game Week 14. I will come out with Game Week predictions tomorrow, or maybe even tonight. But I will be coming out with Game Week 15 predictions. I'm so excited for the Premier League to continue. It's been quite entertaining so far. I'd say probably the game to watch here, the Merseyside derby. That's always a big game. Tottenham Chelsea is a mental fixture, and then I think that I don't know this Palace City. It sounds crazy because of how mid Palace are in the City. They finally won another game, but that fixture's just jumping out to me. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.